Please? For which movie?
I've been getting a lot of questions about, how do I feel? Let's address the elephant in the room.
I just wanted to go on this little baby rant about Rachel Zegler, Disney's worst investment ever in the history of Disney investments.
Rachel Zegler is a loudmouth dope.
Snow White producer's son blames Rachel Zegler for poor box office.
She has this underlying anger and hatred in her that always has to take it one step too far. So first and foremost, if we're going to be cast as Snow White, maybe appreciate the original Snow White.
Save for the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
God forbid a woman dream about true love. We're all just sitting around here, maybe I could be president one day. I hate men, I just want to be president.
Fastest way to tank your career, go out there and start running your mouth and trashing the original IP of the film you're in.
Great. Okay? Great. I'm honored. I don't know why I sound so angry right now. I'm honored. Am I a psychopath?
Rachel Zegler, Hollywood's self-declared rising star, dragged a few of her ride-or-dies into a nearly empty theater to catch her reimagined Snow White. The lights go down, movie starts, and then dead silence. This wasn't just a regular flop. It was a $270 million faceplant. And right at the center of the wreckage, our overly confident princess, Rachel Zegler. Reality check just hit hard. And as of April 1st, the damage is only getting worse. Disney's latest numbers? Yeah, not looking good.
Do you want to be Snow White or do you hate Snow White? Do you want to destroy Snow White? They went way too woke. They ended up kind of changing the whole movie.
Rachel's overblown ego and non-stop woke agenda turned Snow White into a total toxic mess at the box office. This wasn't some fairy tale awakening, more like a total snooze fest. Rachel pulls up with her squad, Ilda, Jorge, Remy, Maria, all hyped with popcorn buckets like they're rolling out to a blockbuster. Ilda's screaming her name on IG like a high school talent show MC. But the theater? Practically a ghost town. So they try to save it with a TikTok skit. 2 tickets please, the guy at the booth says. For what movie? Boom, that's the opening gag. Real subtle, huh? Quick pause, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. You know the drill. Now back to the drama.
Please? For which movie?
Rachel's clutching her Snow White merch, smirking like the dude's the fool for not recognizing her. Hello? She's the star. Who else would it be? She's giving a major "don't you know who I am" energy. Camera cuts to their themed cups and buckets, full of forced giggles and goofy poses. Rachel probably thought this clip was about to break the internet. Instead, it's getting roasted across social media. The vibe is less "I'm famous" and more "please pretend this isn't tanking." And now, with this movie crashing harder than that Bud Light fiasco with Dylan Mulvaney, the clip aged like spoiled milk.
Greatest Disney box office bomb in the history, Disney live-action remakes, but certainly also the end of her career.
Cut to Rachel holding a sad little bouquet in an empty theater, probably a pity gift because the box office sure ain't giving her flowers. She once said, "People will wait in line to see my movies, no matter what." She compares herself to the Louvre's Winged Victory, broken but still iconic. Girl, the only line forming now is online, and they're lining up to drag you. Sean Ono Lennon, yep, that Lennon, called her a disconnected brat, and said this flop was no surprise. Even though Hunger Games gave her a $700 million career bump, this second-place hit feels empty. All ego, no real pull.
When a cartoon character that was voiced in the 30s has more humanity and charm than the actual person who was filmed on screen in live action, that's a problem.
Commenters aren't holding back either. Welcome back to Earth, princess. The jokes are flying, empty seats and GoFundMe-level embarrassment. Then there's Danica Patrick, former race car champ, now full-blown Trump supporter, who couldn't resist the roast. She reposted a savage video mocking Rachel and her box office disaster with a brutal bye-bye caption. Subtle? Not even a little. Clips she shared trashed Rachel's performative feminism and TikTok activism, even suggesting Disney cut her from Toy Story 5 and the Pirates reboot. Are they rumors? Sure. But the shade? It stuck. Patrick, a loud MAGA voice who campaigned for Trump in 2024, clearly took Rachel's anti-Trump jabs personally. Her 2-word roast had the internet buzzing. Some loved it. Some were mad. But it's peak 2025, a race car driver dunking on a Disney princess while the whole studio's on fire.
I just have to note the smugness and superiority on this 23, 25, something like that, girl's face. Young, a little bit of humility, you know? This is a story that's been around for a long, long time. You're not improving on it. So they took out the famous theme song, Someday My Prince Will Come, because it's not fair for a woman to live for love or want to find love or want to find a prince. They were not going to do that anymore, and they replaced it with the far more catchy song, this typical girl power anthem.
Feeling trapped by the walls that hold her. Feeling stuck in the story they've told her.
And the numbers? Brutal. As of April 1st, just $142 million worldwide per Collider. The second weekend? Fell off a cliff, only $14 million. That's a 66% drop, worse than Dumbo. Disney's projecting a $115 million loss after all the extra costs, says Deadline. But behind closed doors, folks on XPG are whispering it's closer to $300 million. That's not just a flop, that's a financial nuke. Execs are probably texting prayers to each other while watching the spring box office burn.
Disney threw her under the bus, but I mean, not unjustifiably so. You can't be like, Rachel Zegler's innocent in all this. She did no damage to the box office. We're seeing it because of her.
That Louvre comparison? Yikes. The only thing lining up these days is the meme army ready to clown her. Ian Miles Chang on X straight up called this Disney's worst live-action remake ever. That old clip of Rachel bragging? Now it's a viral joke, popping up next to pics of empty theaters and regretful merch.
BBC said Disney's Snow White has a major identity crisis. I mean, guys, every single one of these reviews is just absolutely brutal. And what you also need to know is that these are not politically driven reviews. I mean, most of them are from the camp that should be supporting Disney, that should be behind this new progressive take on Snow White, and yet they can't because the film is apparently just that bad.
What we're seeing here is a full-on crash course in EGO. Rachel thought she could rewrite the fairy tale and people would still show up. She called Prince Charming a creep, and trashed the original 1937 classic as weird. Newsflash, people like the classics. They want magic, love, nostalgia, not a TED Talk about girl power. Rachel and Disney ditched the romance for some independent woman speech, like congrats, you turned a sweet fairy tale into a preachy mess. Audiences didn't come for a lecture, they came to escape. Even Peter Dinklage took shots, saying the CGI dwarves were a step backwards. Dwarf actors like Jason Acuna backed him up, angry about losing roles. The so-called woke cleanup bombed harder than the Queen's apple.
It's a bad thing. I'm not agreeing with it. One, because you're replacing jobs that people could have as little people. Okay. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's for dwarfs. Why are you hiring Snow White and the Seven average people?
And in a post-election world, Rachel's anti-Trump posts made it worse. Half the country feels alienated. Disney even had to assign a social media babysitter to her, after her rants got 4 times the trailer views per Variety.
Trump wins, and Rachel decides to go on really just a psychopathic, demented rant, basically accusing all Trump supporters of being awful people, which is par for the course. I'm okay with that. But then she wished harm on Trump and all of his supporters for the next years to come. And you're so out of touch. You've never probably even spoken to a farmer or a rancher. You don't know any people to speak up who have issues filling up their tank. You've just been living in Hollywood, La La Land for so long.
Pedro Pascal tried to save her with an icon shout-out on March 31st, but fans were not having it. Too little, too late. And then there's the Gal Gadot drama. Things were icy on set, and by the 2025 Oscars, Rachel was shading her with some pageant queen jab. Why? Some say Rachel's pro-Palestine posts clashed with Gal's Israeli background. Cut so intense, Disney had to beef up security for Gal after threats. Now fans are calling Gal the true poison apple because of her stiff acting. But let's be real, this mess started with Rachel's attitude. Word is, she got annoyed during filming because Gal kept flubbing her lines. Not that it matters, the whole movie's a disaster. Gal's performance? Painful. You'll roll your eyes at least 5 times.
Also, there's nothing wrong with wanting a man. Can we not have chivalry in this world anymore? There's nothing wrong with saying, you know what? I'd love for a man to come scoop me up and provide for me.
TLDR, the girls and the gays, we all want a man. We all dream about true love. So Disney, that is not outdated.
Now Disney's scrambling. If a $270 million empowerment film can crash this badly, maybe, just maybe, people are over the lectures. Insiders say future remakes like Lilo and Stitch are gonna tone it way down. Hollywood's in panic mode. Reports say studios are quietly cutting woke storylines and casting shifts. Rachel didn't just kill her movie, she might have accidentally forced Hollywood to pump the brakes on their social sermons. Her ego wrote a check her acting couldn't cash. She thought she could speak her way to an Oscar, but all she did was turn Snow White into a warning label. Audiences don't want sermons. They want stories. This one's dead on arrival. So, was it all Rachel's fault? Or was this whole thing doomed from the start? Like if you love the chaos, and subscribe for more Hollywood train wrecks. Catch you tomorrow.